All right, Sci-Fi Express Lane, time to change the conversation from what is going on in the world. This is your 15 minutes of thought-provoking sci-fi talk with your boy, Mr. Jeff Carroll, sci-fi writer, filmmaker, comic book dude, teacher, dating coach. Throw all the daggone titles on me. They all dimensions of me, right? So today I want to talk about the Earth and being centered. How do science fiction writers grapple with creating space worlds with Earth? What provoked this conversation is, as you know, I'm Star Wars over Star Trek, but the gap is always, closing and widening and all that other stuff. So Star Wars had just had an article done on it, on where Earth is in the Star Wars universe. And it was interesting because Star Wars always starts off with a long, long time ago. So what is long, long time ago? Is it before Earth? I always laughed at it because I was like, this is one of the elements of Star Wars that's fantasy, because they use modern Earth linguistic colloquialisms, right? So we're dealing with the post-Shakespeare Earth. We're dealing with the post-hip-hop Earth, because Earth, English language has been shaped by English itself coming around. So if they speak English, that's a significant time in your Earth's history. And then if you have, some modern colloquialisms, which is really hip-hop, its impact on English language, not really much other languages, because a lot of things that we say in English don't always translate to other languages. And Star Wars is an English language show. So it'd be interesting to find where Earth is, because if it's a universe, Earth is in it, right? Every universe has to have an Earth, because Earth is in the universe, right? Can't make up something that is another everything, right? So everything is everything. It's just some stories are so high fantasy that there's got to be nowhere near the Earth that we know. Because when you have high fantasy and you have rabbits talking without some type of rocket science explanation, then you're Alice in Wonderland, which is high science fiction or high fantasy. Anyway, low fantasy is Star Wars, where you're blurring the lines of time, and you're blurring the lines just to allow the people to talk a recognizable, cool language. It's cool that Luke and all of his people talk in old English, and even Yoda talks in Shakespearean English, right? Those are all cool, but they make it a higher fantasy because you supposedly don't have an Earth in there. You know what I'm saying? So Earth, what do you call it? Is where. And so when they come up with Earth in the Star Wars universe, and they start to tell us, because you don't really have to deal with Earth. You could just say my story is so far from Earth that Earth is never heard of, right? Because we ain't never heard of what they're going through, so we haven't found life. That's how big the universe is. So maybe they just haven't found us. However, Star Wars is like all over the universe, you know what I'm saying? They flying everywhere. They got the inner ring, the outer ring, and they got all this other space. So Earth should somewhere be in there, and they just came up with a travel company that offered tours through Earth, but I think it was Andor or something like that, or what's the one that Coruscant, right? So one of those companies offered to travel to Earth. So now it becomes interesting, like, where is Earth? Number one, that's fine, that's no big deal. Could be the outer ring, could be somewhere else. And then when is Earth? So what is going on in Earth a long, long time ago when Star Wars was taking place? Do the Jedi, or who settles on Earth? Who comes to Earth? Because Every planet they go to, it's not like Star Trek where they go to like primitive planets. Every planet they go to, the people have some type of space traveling awareness. And they've been visited before, so it's not something strange. They don't look at them like, who is this man from the clouds? They never have no Jesus factor or nothing like that. So you wonder. And then, what do you call it? What is going on in Earth? We know we had dinosaurs. We know we had cavemen. We know Earth's history. We know we had slavery. We know we had Egyptian period. So where are they going to come? Are they going to come like now? Because then if it comes now, when we got everything pretty much together and they don't have to, we still ain't still not space aware. So, you know, any Jedi, anybody landing here, any dang on space tourists would be like, what? You know, if they come in pre-slavery Earth and we don't have the records, all right, that's kind of safe. So I don't know. I think that would be the safest time to come. But you're dealing with white people in caves, you know, and you're dealing with Bushmen, Africans, or you slide over to Egypt and you're dealing with high-level cultured black people on Earth. That is controversial. That is some Kevin Hart level controversy. You understand? You're going to have the Sumerians. That's fine. That's the way to call it neutral. But they're not as high culture as Egypt, and they're very Egypt aware, or Nile Valley civilizations aware. That's the best way to call it. So how do you get that access? How do you make it realistic? So now we slide over to Mr. Carroll's level of historical debate and science fiction interaction, right? This is where my Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Professor James Smalls and Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, Shashi McIntyre, you know, awareness and training come into play. I'm an East Coast conscious person, so those my East Coast, you know, mentors and mentees, right? So all of that kicks in, all right? And now I say, all right, I'm gonna make my own space planet. And where's Earth fall into there? So for me, it's very arrogant to say that Earth is the central point of all life. So I'm not going Star Trek on the universe, even though Star Trek became very liberal and you had Klingons, you had Romulans, you had other people that were high level. However, Earth at the time that they do this space travel is at a higher level than it really is. So you're romanticizing Earth. Will we ever get to a Star Trek level where we have a federation of planets, or we have a union of Earth cultures? That's romanticizing it. I don't know. I don't even know if I hope so. Anyway, that's Star Trek, right? So then, dang, it's really hard. You can see me now, but I put the sun in my eyes. So what else is there? I think that's, you know, really hard to put Earth as the center. I think it's very arrogant. However, I'm down with it. So, you know, because I'm down with it in the sense that I'm not going to make it a big issue. When people do it, even when black creators do it, I'm not going to say it's racist. It does become racist when you put the white culture on Earth so damn dominant that no other culture on Earth has a spaceship or is involved in your space federation, your Earth Federation. That's ridiculous. That's when it becomes racist or white supremacist. In my story, Planet Kibalon, and then as I was thinking in various other stories I have, which I have a bunch of space stories, my Planet Kibalon became the anchor point for all of my universe. So in the Planet of Kibalon, except for Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet, but in my Planet Kibalon universe, Planet Kibalon is the size of the sun, and it is what do you call it? The life source of all planets, all life in the universe. That's what I gave it, and that's what it is. So all life comes from Planet Kibalon. It's a big embryonic planet. It produces all types of life forms. Now, is there people, is there a big kitchen in it? I don't I haven't done that. I haven't even got into the science of how it's done. But from that, you know, the planet's life forms sends life throughout the universe. So in the history of Planet Kibelon, they grew out of Planet Kibelon, and then they found life habitable planets, and they allowed life forms to habitate those planets, and that's how life spread throughout the universe. And they let planets be habitated. Gosh, it sounds really awkward. I don't know if I'm saying the right word, but anyway, they let these planets have life, so that only after they became culturally strong. And so when they developed a what do you call it? A way to maintain their health, not just have children, maintain it. They had a cultural strength. They had some mental and psychological stability. They were able to travel. So I'm also going to say, because I haven't done it, they had a way to defend themselves, protect themselves. And I don't know if they needed to, but I'm going to give them that. So those are the things that they need to have before they left a planet Kibelon. And in that universe, I start life outside the universe, outside of Earth. So then what does Earth become? Earth becomes an offspring of another planet, this planet Kibelon. So that becomes interesting, because now you're changing the polar shift of what is normally found in science fiction. You know, there are stories where people come to Earth and you see it through Earth eyes. There's, you know, but at some point, you know, it's really hard for Earth writers. Maybe they're writing for readers. I don't know. You know, maybe they're adjusting their own personal likes and dislikes, tastes and comforts to what they think readers will read. You know, so people do that a lot. But I don't think this is most of the case. I think the writers themselves are uncomfortable with Earth life forms and Earth technology not being comparable or able to compete, not comparable, but able to equal, right, to space life forms technology and development. I don't think too many people write how that Earth is dwarfed by other life forms, technology, and psychological development, and that Earth actually gets discovered, right? You know, people come in and be like, oh, shoot, look at these primitive Earthlings. I think that's what's going to happen in Star Wars, because I don't see them willing to give Earth, you know, up. You know, they got to keep that Earth there, man. They can't give it up. So I think that's a problem. That's where the arrogance comes in from. Now, the other thing is, if they do give Earth up, right? The other factor is, if Earth is not technologically capable of dealing with the technology of other planets, then what happens to Earth, right? What happens to Earth? Now Earth is vulnerable in the sense that it can be easily conquered, because we come from a conquering culture, okay? The culture of conquering people. And because of the culture of conquering people, the threat of being conquered looms all around the planet. I mean, all around for the human people, right? If they're not the strongest, or if they can't compete, then they are capable of being enslaved and conquered, which to me is bull crap, right? It's bull crap. Because if you are not the highest culture, and Earth is capable of now going beyond being a conqueror, you're not stupid enough to feel you got to conquer everybody. look at how Imhotep and the Nile Valley civilization brought civilization around the earth. Before, you had Columbus and the explorers bringing death, domination, and destruction around earth. You had Nile Valley civilizations bringing civilization. So why couldn't something like that happen in the universe? So maybe I'll do a part 2 to this, because I think I got a little bit more to say. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to stop here. I just wrap it up by saying, you know, Earth's place in the universe for a lot of science fiction writers is very important to their science fiction, because they feel that Earth has to be at the top of the food chain, or competing for the top of the food chain. And that's it. All right. Talk to you later. Like, subscribe, share. And believe it or not, I really love to hear your comments. I don't get no comments. I get like 1 or 2, and sometimes I get into it on Facebook. But other than that, I don't get any, especially on YouTube. So anyway, thank you. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and that's it. All right, peace.